This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
We with Widarto walked down the gangway of the MS Zaandam and into the bustle of Buenos Aires. Another 12 hours in the cruise ship's sweltering laundry behind him. He'd worked relentlessly, enduring all day on his feet in the bowels of the ship. In one marathon shift, Wewitt and his crew had cleaned dirty sheets, towels, and linens from the ship's 716 cabins, making way for a new cruise with a slew of fresh passengers, more than 1,200 in all from all over the world. For a precious few hours, Wewitt was free. He walked along the dock, the 781-foot-long ship towering above, the navy blue hull topped by a glimmering white superstructure. With an oversized funnel and lights along the railings that twinkled against the darkening sky, its elegant silhouette evoked the golden era of transatlantic travel, that of the Titanic. Another couple of decks were set at or just above the waterline. It was in this cramped underbelly with little natural light where Wewitt worked, slept, and lived. Wewitt joined up with 6 friends, fellow Indonesians and co-workers, all eager to explore the city's famous nightlife before embarking the next day on a month-long voyage around the tip of South America. En route to dinner, their taxi wove around the city's leafy Parisian-inspired boulevards and manicured squares. It was 10 p.m., early for porteños. The crowds are starting to parade by the tango bars, white tablecloth restaurants, and Baroque cafes with irresistible pastries displayed in glass cases as if they were jewels. Traffic crawled along streets lined with mansard-roofed Neo-Parisian mansions, Art Deco apartment buildings, and quaint Tudor-style homes built a century ago by waves of European immigrants. The city felt far removed from the ominous warnings about a deadly virus that had spread out of China to Italy, then Spain, and the rest of Europe, and now the United States. Argentina had registered perhaps a dozen cases and 1 death, hardly a blip on most people's radar. Wewitt and his fellow co-workers settled in for dinner and chit-chat. Life on the Zaandam was tribal. There were dozens of nationalities aboard, and they gathered to speak in their native tongues, prepare their traditional foods, and share communal prayers. Hundreds of citizens from Indonesia, the Philippines, and Thailand worked aboard the Zaandam, many employed in housekeeping and hotel services. They rarely had a free day on land. They were responsible for making the beds, cleaning the toilets, washing the linens, and responding to the summonses and whims of the passengers aboard the Zaandam. Throughout the day, the housekeeping staff checked each room, tidying up messes, folding towels into animal figures, all the time speaking English with the guests. But now they could briefly forget about those duties. It was time for a burger at a bar in Palermo, one of the more elegant of 46 neighborhoods in the sprawling city of 15 million. This was their last weekend on land before more 7-day work weeks and the 12 and often 14-hour shifts they were used to. From their table, they looked out at the bars and restaurants packed around the square. Families strolled the well-lit streets, locking arms. Couples sipped wine at outdoor bistros. Friends crowded together, all seeming to yell at once, gesturing wildly, enjoying a beautiful evening together. A compact, balding man with closely cropped black hair and a deeply etched smile. Wewitt had worked on cruise ships for almost 30 of his 50 years. God's will and an evangelical Christian faith had guided him. On every cruise, he organized Bible study groups for co-workers and was known for his mastery of applying the Word to the difficult life he and his fellow workers all led at sea. Lately, however, Wewitt was worried this volatile virus spreading from Wuhan, China, would find its way into his family's home in Batam, Indonesia. Now, Wewitt was on the Zaandam, traveling to the end of the world, near Antarctica, but he worried about the medical care back in Batam. Would this disease strike down his wife, his 2 sons? It was a rollicking end of the austral summer weekend in Buenos Aires. On Saturday night, after the slew of new passengers had filled the Zaandam, the Backstreet Boys brought their hits to a packed open-air crowd on the Campo Argentino de Polo. AJ, Howie, Nick, Kevin, and Brian crooned, "When the cold air starts filling up my lungs," and the largely female crowd echoed the chorus throughout. My lungs, oh, I breathe. For the entire duration of the concert, 30,000 fans were on their feet, screaming, singing, shrieking.